I think we're live. Hi, hello. This is Robin from A City Made by People. Sorry for delay. We were just having some technicalities, but we're here. Thank you again for joining us for our second city talks. Last one was amazing. I've learned from upgrading my backdrop, so I installed a plant and put up A City Made by People scarf. Welcome to this live Q&A. Where we're going to have a conversation about tech, about the role of technology in times of crisis. We have three amazing initiatives scheduled for you who I will invite to join the conversation. But first, I would like to quickly introduce you to A City Made by People. For those who don't know us, we're a network, international network of cities, and I had to really laugh about this opening picture because it also realized us that it's probably never going to happen any longer, anytime soon, that we're going to queue up in front of a bar. But, well, that's the reality at the moment. So our network of cities is all about celebrating livability in cities together. We do that with a range of great cities. The ones in bold are the most committed cities we have. And the newest added city is Vienna. So welcome. We're super happy to have you on board. And what we do is we like to organize these kind of talks, organize offline events. In case of a pandemic, we do it online. We also like to roll up our sleeves and organize activities like urban gardening or helping those are lonely, or at least to really try to make a positive impact in our cities. And we have a wonderful journal online with regular content and stories about our cities. And we have published different various print journals as well throughout the years. And who knows, there will be one coming up this year. So today, it's not about us. It's about the speakers we have invited to come and share, their initiative with us and share some inspiration. So first up, I would like to give up is Bogdan from Bucharest.
Hi,
Hello,
Robin.
Bogdan. Welcome.
Hi, Robin.
How are you?
Good. How's Amsterdam? How's the Netherlands?
It's good. It's finally started to rain a little bit, so it keeps people inside because they've been playing too much in the park lately. But please, Bogdan, you're CEO and founder of Code for Romania back in, I think, 2016. Could you tell us a bit more about Code for Romania?
Yes, so Code for Romania is a civic tech organization and community that's been functioning for over 4 years now. We're one of the largest civic tech communities in the world. Right now we have over 1,500 volunteers working on the projects that we're building. We built open source software that solves social problems. This is what we usually do. And we usually do it in support of civil society, in support of activists in Romania, to give them the tools that they need in order to support their mission. And in this context of the COVID-19 pandemic, for the last month and a half, we did something unusual for us. We stopped everything that we were doing and worked for a month and a half in support of the Romanian government to build the infrastructure that they need to support their response to the COVID-19 epidemic and to inform the public better. So we've built an ecosystem of six apps that we already delivered to the government and are already working for a few weeks now. They are ranging from information sharing apps, like sharing the official news of the government, add-ons to combat fake news that might appear, sharing the official data on COVID-19 in Romania, but also sharing guidelines on what you can do to stay safe and stay home, guidelines for the Romanian diaspora as well, because in the context of Romania, we have over 20% of the Romanian citizens living abroad. So the Romanian government had to communicate with people outside Romania in mostly other European countries like Italy, France, or Spain. And we've built also a aid management system that helps NGOs across Romania get the support they need, either financially or the volunteers they need, or the donations they need to support the medical system in Romania.
Wow. And how many people are you serving currently with these products?
So these products got to more than 1 in 2 Romanians. So they were used by more than 1 in 2 Romanians. They got to more than almost 10 million Romanians right now.
Wow. Impressive. Wow. Bogdan, hold that thought. We're going to talk more about Code for Romania in a second. First, I'm going to switch to our second initiative. So thanks in a bit. And the second one up is, hello, Hendrik-Jan.
Hello.
Hi.
Robin.
Hi, he's founding team member in the communications and public affairs for DeedMob,
Yes.
technology software company, and initiator of Coronahelpers here in Amsterdam. Welcome. Would you like to give a short introduction to Coronahelpers and DeedMob?
Yes, of course. Well, DeedMob was founded in 2017 at the University of Oxford. Most of the founders studied over there, and we were seeing a lot of great initiatives in the social sector, but what they were lacking were the technology tools to make more impact and to accelerate their impact. So we founded DeedMob in the Netherlands, and we are a platform that supports charities, initiatives to find and match new volunteers and their current volunteers. And we do that for over 4,000 organizations, and we present around 800,000 volunteers in the Netherlands. And also outside of the Netherlands, we're active in the UK, in Germany, in Belgium. And when the epidemic, when the pandemic hits us a few weeks ago, we shift gear and we thought, well, now is the time to show us and to give so much back what we got from the community. So we started Coronahelpers, and Coronahelpers is the DeedMob technology, but purely focused on helping people in Corona times. So it's matching volunteers via traditional organizations like the Red Cross, like UNICEF, who are all working with, or the local food bank, but also one-on-one. Someone who needs help for doing grocery shopping because he or she is in quarantine, or someone wants to receive a postcard because of social isolation. So everything that connects people together is the focus of Coronahelpers, because when we look at the Netherlands, is that a lot of the aid from the government is, of course, focused on medical, is focused on treatment, is on the intensive care units. It's all very important, but most of the time we forget the social aspect of people in isolation. We get elderly people at the moment. Elderly homes are not able to visit, so we can't go to our grandparents or our parents. So Coronahelpers really helps people to get that social connection with each other. And I'm also not a fan of the term social distancing. I'm more of the term of what we physical distancing from each other, but socially we can still interact, but not physically. But we have all the great technology, and Coronahelpers and DeedMob supports that, and we do that mainly in the Netherlands, but also in the UK, coronahelpers.co.uk, so in Germany, in America. So we're really helping others in these Corona times, in helping each other.
Yeah, because even the US government asked for a cost estimate, right?
So yeah, absolutely. We're part of the global organization for volunteering. And we're now in contact with several local governments within the United States. Yes.
Nice. Well, great to have you.
Thank you.
And I'm from Amsterdam. I'm going to switch now to Madrid. So see you in a second, Hendrik-Jan. Thank you. All right. Switch it to Jorge Lana. He's Chief Operations and Strategy Officer at Mendes Altare, so developer of the Helpcommunity app, Teayudo, if I express it well. Welcome.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Robin. And
How
hi
are
to
you?
everyone. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, good. Madrid is okay?
Madrid is, I mean, I think it's one of the probably compared to Amsterdam or Bucharest, we are the worst, as you can see in the news. But it's
kids
getting
are allowed
better.
to play again, right?
Yeah, the kids since last Sunday are allowed to go out and at least to be 1 hour per day in the street, which is a relief for all the parents, as I am. And it's been hard, actually. 6 weeks lockdown with the kids at home. A lot of people were complaining, but finally, I mean, they are allowed to be in the streets. Yeah.
Nice. Well, you want to tell us something about Teayudo for those who don't know your service?
Yeah, exactly. Teayudo is one of the initiatives that our studio, as you mentioned, Mendes Salteren, has been involved in during this COVID-19. Before that, we've been involved with the community of Madrid, with the president and the government, also developing apps for symptoms detection and recommendations based on the protocols, official protocols. And since then, we came up with this idea that you're showing right now, that is basically a combination of startups and together with our studio, we work on launching this initiative that basically it came up with something that we saw in the offline world. Basically, a lot of neighbors were putting posters and cards in the halls and the lobbies of the buildings, providing their phone number, email, and just saying like, if anyone needs help these days, we are available. You can contact us via WhatsApp or phone call. So we since the lockdown, we saw the opportunity to connect these neighbors between not only your building but also around yourself, right? In your same zip code, something similar to what you probably know, Nextdoor or some apps, but only focus on helping neighbors to connect them basically and help them on different tasks, which could be from going to make grocery or going to the pharmacy for, as Hendrik was mentioning, from the elder people or families with kids that they cannot leave the kids alone, or vulnerable people that just cannot, to do these tasks on a daily basis. But not only that, we also have some categories that can be solved online, which could be just give conversation because someone feels alone, or psychology help, and these type of things that recommendations, food recommendations, since we are spending a lot of time at home. Many other things that could be a bit more focused on entertainment. And then we have the primary helps that are more like, helping to those people who cannot go out of the apartments and they are locked down.
And you've seen a lot of, of course, boosts in use of app during the pandemic.
We launched the app. We build it and we launch it since the lockdown. So of course, we're seeing.
It feels like an app that's already been there, but it's not.
Yeah, we built it in 3 weeks from idea to launch, which is quite crazy. And obviously, we're still working on improvements. But yeah, we saw since we launched good traction. Not as many as the official apps that we launched with the government because they are covered by the government. But the good thing is that we have already more than 5,000 users, most of them in Madrid and Barcelona. We're seeing people helping each other from day one. That's the best thing.
Okay, nice. Well, good to have you. And I'm going to re-invite the other two so we can have a conversation, the four of us. There we go. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Let's start with the first question. All viewers out there, if you have a question, you can type them in the comment box. And I can see the comments here. So I'm easy to pull it in and have it answered by whoever you ask it to, or to all of them. So to kick it off, the live Q&A, would love to hear how what your response was and how fast you and your team really came up with the first solution. So maybe Hendrik-Jan, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Well, it started at the March 15, when the government, we don't have the lockdown as in other countries. We call it a smart lockdown or an intellectual lockdown. But we knew that when the lockdown was going to happen, things were going to change and people needed help. And we already got a lot of requests on deepmob.com for Corona themed activities, but we wanted to do something more. So we wanted to create a specific space for Corona initiatives. So we built actually in one day, because we already had the infrastructure in place on deepmob.com, but we created a separate platform using our own technology to create Coronahelpers.now, and that gave an immense lot of media attention and lots of people signing up and helping each other. But yeah, our first reaction was, this is our time. This is our call. Personally, it infected us all. But from a DeepMob perspective, this was the moment we thought, now we need to show what we're made of and show what we can do. And we do it from a social mission. We do it with our clients. We work a lot with municipalities and with corporations. So TomTom, KPMG are working with it, but also the city of Utrecht, County of Somerset in the UK. But we also work with a lot of non-traditional clients, so organizations who want to use our technology. So we offer them the solutions, and it's a roller coaster since ever then. So it's really our time to show what we're made of.
Right. And it also affected your business itself, but you have a lot of skills in-house to really build something like this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. When the day we started is that we always wanted to have the technology in-house. So we are primarily a technology company. And yes, it also affected the business because one of our clients is KLM, for example, the Dutch airline. Well, they are, as every airline, they are in very bad weather right now. So we also see that when it comes to our product. But on the other hand, and I really need to give them a huge thanks and a huge applause to them, is like companies like TomTom and KPMG really want to excel right now. So they really want to show their support and help people in need. So we see also a lot of good initiatives. But it changes also the business perspective of the platform. Absolutely.
Yeah. And possible new solutions and answers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to change the solution. We need to adapt. But that is, I think, also for Jorge and for Bogdan, you need to you need to adapt. You need to change to the environment, and that's what we did, and still doing, of course, every day.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks, Bogdan.
So for Code for Romania, we took the decision pretty fast to get involved in the COVID-19 response. So it was March 10 when we internally decided that we're going to move all the energy of Code for Romania towards fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. On March 11th, we contacted the government saying that, okay, we can offer our help. We can put everything that we're doing on pause and we can start helping you today. And on March 12th, we had the meeting with the government and we started working. So it was very fast. It was, let's say, from the first signs of the pandemic coming to Romania, because we didn't have a lot of cases back then, but we had clear signs that cases were coming to Romania. As I was saying earlier, we have a big chunk of our population, of our citizens living in Spain and Italy, two countries that were very hardly hit by the pandemic. And we knew for sure that with Easter and the pre-Easter time, many of them would be coming home to Romania and will be meeting their family members. So we'll have a worse situation of our hands pretty fast. Our luck was that when we went and proposed the ecosystem of 6 apps, we knew very well what we were proposing, because last year we did research on disaster relief and disaster relief management in the context of a possible earthquake in Romania. So we didn't have a big earthquake in Romania, but many of the solutions and many of the challenges were quite the same. Not the social isolation or the physical isolation, as you said, but many of the challenges were the same. The government needing to combat fake news, the government needing to communicate much more, people needing to come together and help each other, people needing to know where to donate, where to offer their help in through these days. So this was
really
a lot.
Really offering people direction in moments of crisis as well.
Yes,
mostly.
So we took everything that we knew from our research in disaster relief in a earthquake situation. We transferred it to the situation we have on our hands right now, and we came pretty fast with the 6 apps that we developed for the government. And from a development point of view, okay, we had the UX work already done, and everything was prototyped and tested before for a possible earthquake. But the fact that we were able to develop the 6 apps within 2 to 4 weeks, it's a marvel in itself, and that was done with the power of volunteering, and that's a marvel in itself again. That we had over 700 volunteers working on these apps day and night for a few weeks, so we can have them pretty fast.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Jorge.
That's a lot of people working. Yeah, on our side, similar times. We started the 12th of March. Actually, we typically in our studio don't work with governments or municipalities before this. I mean, we work more with the startups and big corporations. What happened was, I mean, one of our customers, who is actually Martin Varsavsky, he's a serial entrepreneur here in Spain, but also in the US and globally. And he called us on the 12th of March. And he told us that basically he was talking to the president of Madrid, the community of Madrid. This was for the first app we built. And we needed to copy actually what the app that they were building, that they built already in Korea, in South Korea. I don't know if you saw it. You probably saw it because they've been doing very good things on tech. So we checked first. The first thing we did was to see if there was like the app was available in terms of the open code and so on. But we couldn't contact with them, even with all the contacts that we had. So we had to connect with other startups and corporates in Spain to build the first app in 7 days. Since we built that, the second week is when one of the team members came up with the idea of Teayudo and Helpcommunity. And basically we start to build the other one in parallel, since we have other resources as well, in collaboration with other startups. So 2 actions. And since then, I think like all of you, it's been a roller coaster since 12th of March, not so much sleep, working a lot of days during the night and weekends included, but also feeling well in a way because we are collaborating and helping in difficult times as it is right now. But yeah,
is sleep the biggest challenge, or what? Is sleep the biggest challenge, or is what's the biggest challenge for you at the moment as with Teayudo? Jorge? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a little bit. Okay.
Okay. No, yeah, I mean within the process.
The biggest challenge for. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, I go on. Yeah, in terms of biggest challenge for the first one, Corona Madrid, the Symptoms app, in the beginning was the privacy data, but because it was misunderstood by some of the newspapers that they wanted to I mean, because it was an initiative. It was coming from the public and the government, but some corporates and startups were build it very fast. So we use technology from Google and we were asking for information like the phone, the ID, the email, and geolocation and so on. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, who are these people asking for this?" Until the government didn't show up, they were questioning, right? On the second one, on Helpcommunity, Teayudo, is the scale not with volunteers, that we're seeing a lot of volunteers coming in and signing up. is more the scale with elder people. I think the people that are most in need, we are realizing that it's more difficult to get to them to download the app and so on, right? Like even if the app and the user interface is very easy, we're struggling a little bit more with that part. We have like 85% of our users are volunteers and 15% are people that are asking for help, right? So far as a marketplace, by requesting or helping, the challenge is more to get to these older people or people in need to get to be more technological, or I don't know, is basically to get more downloads there.
Yeah, and I think that's also a challenge. I think making a move back to Hendrik-Jan, right, about keeping this marketplace in place.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because the balance is as Jorge say, it's really important. And what we see is that in the beginning we had a lot of new volunteers. Everyone wanted to help, and everyone wanted to show their good intent and their support. But people is for people who are in need, it's not always easy to put the request online to say I need something to help me. I think it's because of two things. The first thing is that, well, they always are scared to show the vulnerability online. The second is that they, of course, also hopefully have family members or friends who can do it. But we have here in the Netherlands, for example, a province that is really hit hard, Brabant, which is in the south. And we saw in the beginning a lot of typical requests from, I want to walk the dog, I want to do some grocery shopping. But those things really started to grow when people are really asking for specific things, because the family members were running out, so to say, because, they were quarantine or they were hospitalized. So we saw a huge growth also in these questions for needing help. So, but because it's a marketplace, it always has to do with two ends. And that is really important. So we every day we are working on that to keep to make the most of it and to have a good balance in that. But we always have a lot of volunteers, and then you need to match. And that's for us also good to always work when it's possible with local authorities and municipalities, because they know what's going on a local level, and they can match. For example, in Utrecht, which is the third biggest city in Amsterdam, it's really working well. So because they really know on a local level what's going on. So we support the technology, but they in Utrecht really know what works, and they created great initiatives.
Yeah, and they have to bring those initiatives to your platform. Right?
But they really know also what's going on locally. So it's a great partner. It's a great part. It's we are the online and they're the offline, and that really works.
Yeah, those are great partnerships. Yeah. And Bogdan, your main challenge?
One of the main challenges is the one that you mentioned first, getting enough sleep right now. It's been it's been a hard month and a half, almost 2 months, and most of us are on the verge of burnout or past that point already. But it's a specific time where what we do, it's very, very needed, but the resources are not infinite. So even with 1,500 volunteers, you can't do all the projects that are needed right now. And Code for Romania is viewed, at least in Romania, as this organization that is in public service. And we have a lot of requests from government, a lot of requests from civil society as well. NGOs are hard hit, and NGOs are also helping a lot, and we could help them a lot with technology, but we have a limit in what we can do. So that, I would say, it's the hardest thing to manage. Where do you get involved? What do you solve, and what you choose not to solve, and what you choose not to do? I would say this is the biggest challenge right now.
Another challenge I was thinking about was I see a lot of initiatives really starting from scratch almost. It feels like everyone is a bit reinventing the wheel somehow. Isn't there a challenge to find common ground with all these initiatives in different countries and cities? Like, is there something we could I mean, Coronahelpers, I know you're branching out to other countries, but you've created it from scratch, right? I mean, isn't there anything that can be united or joining forces across borders?
Well, it really depends because yes, we're abroad, but it's not easy to adapt yourself because the platform in the beginning was really focused on Dutch rules around volunteering. We have certain rules by the government and certain techniques in place to make sure everything goes well. And when we are meeting with new clients abroad, then we need to figure out how we can adapt. Language, for example, well, the UK is of course an obvious one because, well, English. But yeah, we need to adapt, but we're always looking for partnerships. And yeah, we definitely want to work together with other technological apps and companies. But it's not always that easy because there is a difference, especially for us, when I'm really speaking now for Gitmob and for Coronahelpers, is that volunteering is also usually, when you look at our neighbors in Belgium, you need to have a special insurance in place for volunteering. So your system also needs to adapt to those local rules within the country. But when there is an opportunity, yeah, then absolutely we want to help out. Absolutely.
So the biggest challenge there is then legislation then.
Yeah. Legislation, sometimes language, but that can be solved. And if you want to move quickly, as Jorge and Bogdan said, you need time is of the essence. So we also worked for the first few weeks like nonstop and in the weekends, and well, sleep was also a bit hard to find. So you need to also make you need to have focus. A big problem within startups is lack of focus. So that's always what we learned. We need to focus. So now we're focusing on Netherlands and now internationalization. But also within your international strategy, you need to focus as well.
And another blockage there is also the flow of knowledge. So we might not know in time that somebody in the Netherlands is developing something that we could reuse or repurpose. We have a lot of technologists all over the world, civic technologists or business, that are doing amazing work these days. The question is, how do we find about it and how we can cooperate easily? And, the civic tech scene hasn't found an answer to this in decades now. And I think we still need to look for an answer to this. How do we make a knowledge curation so we can find out about what's happening in Amsterdam, what's happening in Madrid? This type of calls help. There are communities around. For example, Code for Romania is part of a larger network of civic tech organization called Code for All, and we find out about what others are doing in other places in the world. And then you also need to have the capacity to replicate. We've had a lot of calls in the first, let's say, 10 days of us working on these apps of people abroad, people in organizations in Italy, organizations in Moldova, organizations in Latin America, trying to replicate what we were doing and asking for our help. But we were so focused on what we needed to deliver right in Romania and then that it was very hard to go and document whatever we were doing at a fast pace so that they can reuse it as fast as they needed it.
Okay. We also need a platform for all the platforms. Okay.
Well, yeah, you do have a lot of initiatives. As I said in the beginning, we are part of the International Organization for Volunteering, which has around 700 members. But I do believe that we also should work more together as entrepreneurs, as technical startups, especially in Europe, but also outside of Europe, to share knowledge and figure out where we can work together. And I think this crisis is absolutely also a good opportunity to share knowledge and to work together where it's possible. So absolutely, yeah.
Jorge, what do you think tech companies can do now, and also to really, from your learnings as well, when it comes to mobilizing citizens or residents to embrace a technology like that? Yeah. Connection. Are you there? Well, let's wait for Jorge to find back his connection. What's the immediate thing you think technology needs to offer now at the moment? You think, Bogdan?
As I said, what we are doing right now, it's more needed than ever. So it's very timely. The effort that we can put in. It's hard for me to speak about tech companies because we're a tech NGO, so we come a bit from a different perspective. But at least in Romania, we had a lot of support from the tech companies, lending us time that their volunteers might have put in their companies rather than working for our apps, or supporting with infrastructure or with money what we are doing. So the tech industry in Romania was of great support to Code for Romania.
And how did residents and citizens respond to apps? Was it welcomed and embraced? I mean, how would you say the impact has been so far?
So for the 3-4 apps that we built for in order to inform the citizens better, as I was saying earlier, we already reached half of the Romanian population, almost half of the Romanian population. So this is amazing. Of course, this is partly due to the partnership with the government. Government is the biggest influence right now. So whatever the government says, people pay attention to more than at any other time. So working with the government helped the reach of our apps. So I would say people are responding well. We had mostly love coming towards us, not a lot of criticism, and even when criticism was there, it was constructive criticism. So I think they were received well, and people welcomed what we were doing.
Because Hendrik-Jan, as you know, in the Netherlands, the government is still debating about an app.
Yeah. We have. I think in the Netherlands, the discussion is two-sided. If you look at our app, as I said, we are focusing on the social side of the crisis, and that's really working. But the government has also issued a tender for apps to spot or to check your status if you are infected, or to know if someone in your neighborhood is infected. And well, our government is not really, because they always want to be transparent, and they want to be so much transparent that things get not that transparent, because it's the communication that have is getting really blurry. And well, they did a public tender, and they did a hackathon and an appathon, and they use all those fancy terms. But the problem is that when you look at the people who are actually need to give advice on the technical app, everyone in that committee doesn't have a technical background. So all of them have a medical background, which is also very important. But building an app, especially an app when it comes to privacy like this, and I'm not talking about Coronahelpers, but I'm talking about the Dutch program, it's really different. So you need to have experts on it. And I talked with a lot of experts who bid for the tender, and they got really weird replies, because they knew from the reactions, and they saw from the reactions, that these people were not technical experts, but were medical experts. That's different. And you always get the whole story around GDPR, about privacy. So we could look. Our government should really look at countries like Romania. So things like when it comes to that. So the medical.
It was easier a bit in Romania because, in a certain sense, Code for Romania exists, and Code for Romania can do what it does for free in relation with the government. If the government would have had to do all of this on its own, it would have been either failed or would have needed to go to a public tender like it did in the Netherlands. And God knows how much it would have taken for them to get through the whole bureaucratic process, done it right or done it wrong. Even done right, it most probably we wouldn't have any app running right now. So the fact that Code for Romania could come at the initial time when the crisis was starting could give this help for free to the government, and we could get the support from IT companies to do what we were doing and give this support for free to the government. Really helped. Really helped because you need to move very agile in this environment.
Jorge, are you back? I think Jorge is only listening to the conversation. That's okay.
He's enjoying the sunlight.
Yeah, the Madrid sun. Nice. Yeah. All right.
A lot of vitamin D.
Sorry,
A lot of vitamin D. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a response here from a viewer, Hannah, about the app in the Netherlands that the Netherlands wants to put in place is too invasive for the user. Yeah, I think it's also because of the whole process. There's not much trust probably around something like that, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, we have a history in the Netherlands when it comes to government and technology, which is not great.
Mm-hmm.
I see it outside of the Corona crisis because I deal a lot with the government. That we have a very good relationship, but sometimes when it comes to app development, when it comes to app building, it's really it's really hard to connect to them on an intellectual level. And now we have this initiative that we should have a Corona app, but they didn't think it through. And when I saw the question popping up, yeah, the app that they want is really invasive. It really tells you where people are infected and not. So it doesn't give a good vibe. But please also, on the other hand, the government in the Netherlands is doing great things. But when it comes to app, they need to also listen to the experts, and that's something not happen right now.
Yeah. And to all the viewers out there watching, I mean, we would love to know whether you are using an app at the moment, wherever you are, in which city or country, and whether you would use an app like that, and why you would or not. So happy to hear those pros and cons from the user side of things.
Because you hear good stories in the Netherlands also about hospitals that use it. You have, of course, in Amsterdam, you have hospital OLVG, who use it to check if you have symptoms. And that works on a basic level. And the app that we have is, as I said, on the social level. But it's really something else when you're talking about medical data and when you talk about medical backgrounds and stuff like that. So that is really a different story.
Okay.
Hey guys, I think I missed half of the interview, but I was trying to follow you.
Okay.
I think the coronavirus attacked my Wi-Fi connection or something like that.
Oh, sorry to hear.
No worries. I was following, and I think if I can add something about Spain, because we didn't talk too much about it, because I lost part of my connection. In terms of the government and so on, I would say that what I've seen here, I mean, the measurements that have been taken in Asia or in other countries like South Korea, here they have been criticized in terms of like strong measurements to follow you. I mean, to geolocate, find your location all the time, right? So the government here is kind of afraid of making these decisions of putting technology working on a full potential, and I think is the European style, right? Like compared to probably they can do in China or South Korea. Here we're more concerned about the public opinion and people thoughts. So there are many things that we had in the roadmap to do with the government as well that they were not done because of potential critics of people, right? So here we're looking at what they are doing outside, and then we go a bit slow, in my opinion, implementing the technology. But there are many private initiatives, of course, from medical and as well from local municipalities. But from the central government, I would say very slow and poorly managed. Yeah, in Spain.
Right. And what would you say? What from the experience in the weeks, with Teayudo, Jorge? What lessons have you learned so far that could help other similar initiatives, or inspiration that you would like to share?
Yeah, with Teayudo, I think the main learning is basically, I mean, we launched very fast, thinking on one problem to solve one problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true that maybe we should have taken 2 more weeks to think a couple of things. The first thing is like, okay, we want to connect neighbors during confinement and lockdown, and it's an opportunity that is a handicap at the same time, and you need to make it very well organized. So right now our platform is completely open to any. I mean, we have different categories, but there is no time schedule. So, for example, there are users asking for help at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and people cannot help 24 hours, right? So far. You have your work, and then you want to collaborate maybe at 7 p.m., you go to the supermarket. So one of the things that we realized was like not having scheduled the help itself on the app, because what we do is basically you post the help, you request the help, then all the neighbors start to write you, and then you make a match, right? Like on a dating app, and then you go to one-on-one conversation, and then you can arrange the rest of the help there. But we realize a lot of people that are trying to help are like seeing a lot of comments, and they don't know if that help was already finished or not finished, and there is no specific schedule, right? So for us, like, okay, thinking these small things, we didn't think about them because we felt the time to market obviously is crucial here. We want to help as soon as possible. And now it's something that we are realizing as we have data, we have user feedback, so we're going to start to implement it to make it more concrete for people to help.
And the initiative is going to stay, right? Teayudo is going to even exist beyond.
Yeah, definitely. Teayudo is gonna stay. We have two plans. One is B2B, helping volunteers by and providing them a back office with a dashboard where they can manage multiple help requests at the same time by location and zip codes. And on the other side, the zip code connection and the neighborhood and community feeling these days is very strong. And we realized that a lot of people want to help them before they didn't give a shit, right? Or they care, but they were just caring in another way. We've seen some, because our users are normal people, are not volunteers from Red Cross or something like that, right? So we saw people, I could say this is an example, right? Like some people buy a Patagonia sweater because they want to save the world. I would say our users are coming to our app because they want to have meaningful helps and feeling better, and they know this is a moment to help. So it's an interesting solidarity movement that we're seeing across every single country, because I'm sure in your countries as well. And I think we need to focus on that, right? Like how we can embrace this movement, focus on neighbors and neighborhoods, and trying to make it work, not to maybe save the world, but starting saving your coffee shop or your neighbor who cannot leave the apartment.
So it's actually what you're saying is also using the app not only for yourself, but also for your community and to support your community as well. So it's more like a collective thinking as well behind it.
Correct. Yeah. And that's what a lot of users are telling us. It's like the sense for community and neighborhood now is much stronger than what it was 2 months ago.
Yeah, you've seen that with the clapping at 8 o'clock, right? Every evening.
Yeah, we had it actually in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
we have
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you have it in your countries.
Yeah, we have.
I don't know if you have it in your countries, but
only once,
okay.
only at the beginning, not every night. No.
You should do it again.
Okay, we have it every night. And it's something that a lot of people wouldn't think about. Basically, 2 months ago as well, to clap with your neighbors that you don't know, or maybe you saw them but you don't. Sometimes you were too busy, so you couldn't. And now everybody greets each other since we're starting little by little going to the streets. Everybody's clapping together. They have beers from balcony to balcony. It's nice to see these things. yeah, we're just a technology that is trying to connect and help each other. But obviously, the movement is itself, right? Is a movement that happens when we all join together against the same enemy. Before, we were too busy complaining from one neighbor and another one because they were too noisy or whatever. Now we are all together working on the same direction. That's the change.
That's a nice social learning. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Bogdan, what has been your lessons learned and what you've developed with Code for Romania? Is it also here to stay?
So I think all that we developed is here to stay, in the sense that it's going to be here when the next emergency comes around. So many of the apps that we build are very reusable, in the sense that they would be useful if an earthquake comes, another crisis like this, another pandemic like this comes. So they will be there in store, and the next time we'll have a crisis, it's going to be a faster response from an even faster response from our part. If I'm to speak about lessons to learn from this, I think there's a lesson that we already knew, the ones of us working in technology or civic technology, the fact that technology response is part of any emergency response in the 21st century. But I think this is a lesson learned by governments and by civil society all across the world, that we need to count in technology when we think about emergency response from now on. And I think we need to take measures from this lesson learned. And as others were saying, government need to get more experts on board. They need to have access to technology experts. They need to have access to user experience experts. They need to create the mechanisms through which they can respond faster and better when the next emergency comes around, not only in healthcare, but also in technology, because technology is a support tool in everything we do right now.
Yeah. And you've also seen both a medical and technical level. We all need to collaborate more, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hendrik-Jan, your biggest learning, and of course, Coronahelpers here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and first say is that the biggest learning is that we're facing every day on the day we were founded until now, is that focus, as I said, because we get a lot of calls about people want to work with us, they want to use our technology, and we get a lot of calls about people interested in us. We had a lot of media attention also in the last week. We had a call with the Prime Minister, a call with our Queen, people from the government visited our office. So, well, they want to use us and they want to use the technology, and we're always open for collaboration. We always want to talk, but we really need to stick to our plan. Our resources are also not unlimited. We have a small but very strong team. So we always need to have focus, and absolutely Coronahelpers will be here also in the next few years. It depends if it's Corona themed, because in the Netherlands we're all already talking about what happens after Corona. We're calling it the new normal. We really want to fit in within the picture that I really believe, and I hope really believe, that this crisis will change a few things when it comes to our food system, when it comes to flying, how we look at cities. But I think also is helping each other, and that the platform Coronahelpers is really the basic for that, and we will use it absolutely. But maybe it will be themed different, or it will be a successor to it. But absolutely, and it's also prepared for the next big emergency. But
I hope you can change the name.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. Okay. We will be there. We'll be there.
Great. How can the citizens get in touch to close off with?
They can send us an email. They can send to myself an email. That's Hendrik/Jan, as you see in my name, at deedmob.com, or hello@deedmob.com, and I would love to help out. Sure.
Okay, good. I'm gonna write it down in the comment box. Wait, hello@deedmob.com. There you go. And then Bogdan.
So everybody can find us on Facebook, on our website, code4.ro, and can also write to us on the email.
Great.
contact@code4.ro. And anybody that wants to use, reuse, or learn from our experience from across the world is welcome to write to us, and we'll try to help.
Great. Thank you. Jorge? You still there? Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here, but I couldn't hear if you had any questions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's how can citizens get in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, via email, Jorge@mendesaltaren or info@teayudo.io. Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to thank you guys because we're way over time by 10 minutes. But I really want to thank you because your stories and perspectives have really at least changed my perspective on technology and the role it can have, both as a platform or in a browser or as an app. But there's also very much a social function there for all of us, wherever we are, to bring us together. And I think help is helping each other is the biggest assignment here of using technology. I think not only just to see who has corona, who has not corona, but it has a more of a social function, and I think that's one of the most important aspects we should not forget. So I'm gonna say thank you to Bogdan, to Hendrik-Jan, to Jorge from Bucharest, Amsterdam, and Madrid. Thank you so much for your time. This video will be recorded, so we can share it with your family members or colleagues or whatever in the future. I'm going to say bye and then make some last announcements, and then going to end this live stream. So for now, I'm going to say mulțumesc, Bogdan.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Robin, bye-bye.
Hendrik, dankjewel.
Thank you.
Jorge? Oh, Jorge already left. Unfortunately, his collection. So, yes, we super grateful for these 3 initiatives to share and say thank you again here next to my face. 1 second. Here we go. Yep, technology is amazing. Thank you, Bogdan, Hendrik-Jan, and Jorge. And we have some last announcements to make before we end this live stream, and that is that next week, next to City Talks, myself and other cities in our network have thought of some more entertainment. So we're gonna launch City Tunes, which is happening next Friday. So not tomorrow, but next week. We'll confirm a time, and the concept is that we will invite various musicians from different cities within our network to play music for our viewers. We still need to define which cities are gonna enter and which artists. We're working hard on it, but our team of captains around the world are totally up for it. So that's exciting. It will be in the afternoon, say around 4 or 5 p.m. Central European time. So scribble that down in your agenda. And our next City Talk is the week later, because it's going to do it every 2 weeks. And City Talks will be hosted on the 14th of May. I know Hendrik-Jan doesn't like the social distancing term, but it is a common thing now. But we like and will discuss how we will get around in the post-corona city. So think about cycling and walking in our cities and how this whole social distancing will have an effect on how we get around in our city. So note that down as well. We'll do announcements on our social channels and our website. So definitely stay tuned on that. And I want to thank all the viewers out there from wherever you are for watching. I hope you're excited and inspired. I hope you didn't lose trust and hope in technology and how it could help us connect with each other, for sure. Otherwise, this would not be possible, but it can do a lot more. So yeah, I think it's a new normal. It's a new reality. If you have any questions, you can write us in the comments or send us a message, and we're happy to connect. So thank you again from Amsterdam. This is Robin, and I see you hopefully next week and the week after. All right, have a fabulous evening. See ya. Bye.